What's up, guys? Ben here, bringing you another video today. I wanted to talk about two team situations that are going on in esports over the last couple of days. I want to talk about what's going on with the Guard in VCT and their inability to now lock in a VCT spot, as well as what is going on with Infinite Reality / Rogue / KOI. And I want to talk about what both of those situations mean to the representative CDL teams that both organizations have. So let's dive in. We're going to start talking about the Guard. All right, so we got some news yesterday afternoon. I think this one was a little bit unexpected. And I'm going to read the statement to you. This is coming straight from Riot's Valorant Esports NA account. After several months and rounds of communication with the Guard, the organization has failed to meet the deadline to agree to the team participation agreement for VCT Americas. As a result, the Guard will not be participating in the 2024 VCT Americas League. No team will be promoted to VCT Americas, and the league will field 10 teams for the upcoming season. So, for context, the way that VCT Americas was structured in Valorant this year was that you obviously had sort of the partner kind of franchise tier 1, and then you had a tier 2 that kind of fed into this Ascension tournament and ended up with one team getting promoted from what was understood that like would give them an opportunity to be in the league for 2 years. You would then have another team kind of coming up via Ascension next season and so on and so forth. And basically the idea is fill out the league with and the ability for teams and players to qualify into the cycle. And this is definitely surprising because it's not like, you know, the parent company of the Guard is broke. And it's kind of odd to see a team not agree to a team participation agreement for a franchise league, especially qualifying in. It's definitely bizarre. There's been a lot of reaction from the esports and Valorant space in the last 24 hours. I'm not going to cover really most of those statements. You can go on Twitter, go on Reddit, and you'll find most of them. To me, I think the most important thing is how the players feel, because it seems like, you know, they didn't really have news of this happening. And if you see the statement from NET, I mean, look, the issue is that the players are the ones that managed to qualify into the league, the ones that managed to, over the course of the sort of tier 2 season and Ascension, able to beat M80 and qualify for the league. And unfortunately, those players and the coach can't do anything about it because the org had other issues, and we'll get to those issues in a second. You know, for me, it's sort of the base of the pyramid when it comes to this. I just feel like Riot needs to do better by the players who work their ways to qualify into this league and actually find a solution that works. Now, we did end up getting a statement from the head of Valorant Esports and the commissioner of VCT, and I think it's interesting to kind of read this because I think there are this is kind of a very PR word statement, and I kind of take issue with a couple of things in here. So one is, for the context of how the Guard didn't end up in, basically according to this post, any teams that qualify for that final tournament signed a TPA, a team participation agreement, and the signatures were held in escrow. So, you know, once the term was over and the teams that were going to go up were going to go up, it was very easy for them to start that process to get those teams integrated into VCT. And it sounds like there was some issue between Riot and the Guard about the terms of that agreement. Obviously unclear from here what those issues were. And then unfortunately, you know, Riot made the decision to move on. So I think this tweet from Hunter is kind of interesting. I think for context, Hunter was attached to the old Guard org, so he definitely has connections there. And I think always, you know, with him, I think you kind of will get this sort of POV from that side. And it seems like the sense from his statement here that there was going to be no Team Gunskin provided for this guest team, a 2-year commitment, which is we know with the Guard in their situation, we'll get to in a minute. It sounds like, at least on the sort of Guard side, they felt like the terms weren't good and they were maybe getting second thoughts. But, you know, this I would take with a little bit of grain of salt. And look, from the Riot side, you see their spin on the other side of this. They do kind of confirm that the team branded Gunskin is not available to people to get this quote unquote guest spot. But they kind of push back that there are still financial incentives if you do get a spot in VCT. I personally take big exception to this paragraph in which they address kind of how they ended up in the situation where they weren't going to promote any team. And they basically say that they didn't want to allow a situation where the players who were under the Guard to basically like get sold to a different org and someone in transit is basically buying a VTT spot, which I think is ridiculous, by the way, because one is, that's not a sale of a spot. Let's say in this situation, right, what's happened now, the Guard has released the players. Let's say Riot decides, okay, we're going to do right by the players now. Let's find an org for them. No one's buying a VCT spot. They're buying the players, and they're getting with the players who have qualified into VCT, that VCT slot. Now, Riot could then kind of do their thing, find the right org that fits their, you know, due diligence standards, blah, 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 blah. But I just think it's ridiculous to say allowing an acquisition by a different organization now opens the door for the slots in VTC to be sold, which you don't allow. Well, then just don't allow it. But to me, I think that's just a flawed way of dealing with the issue of the fact is the players qualified in, they should be able to play, and Riot, the publisher, should figure out the solution among all else to be able to ensure that integrity is held. My issue with it, when you kind of scroll down through the statement, they say we're very disappointed on behalf of the players who competed the whole season, won't be able to qualify as a team due to circumstances beyond their control. And I think that's a ridiculous statement because, like, you can fix that situation. It's beyond their control, but as a publisher and you run the league, right, you can go ahead and make the decision that does best by the players. And I think this is going to have a chilling effect for the tier 2 scene of Valorant. We've already seen issues on the other side of Riot with LCS and what's going on with the tier 2 scene there. Now you're sending a message to all these tier 2 players in Valorant, especially in North America, that you can spend a whole season trying to get into VCT. And we know the team business is tricky. And if your org has issues and they can't agree to terms of Riot, well, too bad. All that work you spent over the last year is done and dusted. You're not gonna be able to play in VCT, and you're gonna have to scramble to find a team to try to either get into VCT or try again in the challenger scene. So, I mean, I'm very curious to see what Riot does here. There's been a lot of public pressure now over the last 24 hours on this, and we'll see if Riot budges. I'm not holding my breath on that, but it really sucks for these players, man. And I think a lot of people are kind of providing cover and backup from them on Twitter. Again, if you can search, you'll see a lot of big esports personalities, influencers, team owners have kind of backed these guys up, offered assistance and all of that. Now, where this kind of ties into CDL for the Guard is they do own that LA Gorilla spot. They also own a Overwatch League spot. We know the Overwatch League is basically probably going to be done after the season. So going into 2024, I don't think that team is really going to be on the books for the Guard. But now that they basically have released their Valorant team, the only thing they have left is the CDL. And here's the thing is they haven't really committed to a CDL roster this season. You know, we've heard a lot of rumors about maybe Clay joining the team, Attach joining the team, maybe Standing goes over with them, but they haven't signed, as far as I know, any players. And I now have questions about, you know, considering this news in Valorant, or LAG going to try and pull out of the league. Is the league going to have to work within that bounds and maybe not, and sort of bend their will and let them kind of pull out? I think that's just one situation to watch. There's been, we'll have to see if any rumors come around a solidified LAG team, but don't be surprised now if this pushes back that decision deadline even further for LAG. We start to hear rumblings that they're going to try and pull out of the CDL for this season. All right, let's move on to a different CDL team related situation, parent company thing. So here from an investigative reporter in Europe, Infinite Reality / Rogue is reportedly having problems with non-payment in several areas of the KOI project. One is obviously these financial issues are cascading to their LEC spot, as well as sort of their VCT spot. And iBuy is having to put up sort of his own money in order to kind of keep things solvent. So they're kind of in a weird financial state. There's kind of a weird ownership spot kind of within this sort of merge project. I think these assets have changed hands a couple of times, especially the CDL spot. There's a lot of complicated ownership going on. But the issue now kind of goes to London Royal Ravens, which is they haven't announced the team either. It seems like their parent org is going through particularly difficult issues. And just like with LAG, I wouldn't be surprised if this team or this organization, as they try to solve their financial issues, try and not have a Call of Duty team this year. So going to keep my eye on the situation. Just kind of some banter on Twitter today, not really any kind of further reporting on what that means for the CDL spot, but there's flags here and I'm very curious. Yeah, kind of an interesting update in a couple of corners of the esports world. We'll keep an eye on both of these stories and I'll keep kind of giving you guys sort of the perspective as it means towards the CDL. I think we're heading, kind of my final thought is, you know, the team business is really tough. I think we've talked a lot about on stream, talked a lot about on this channel, and we're going to keep seeing news like this about orgs dealing with financial issues, I think, for the foreseeable future. And it really means that these franchise leagues kind of have a tough future ahead. And for Activision, we're currently going to merge with Microsoft. I think they're going to slowly transition away with those franchise leagues. So more to come. I think the story is not over. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. Like if you enjoyed, subscribe for more, and we'll see you guys on the next video.